السادة والسيدات الحضور الكريم، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا وسهلا بكم جميعا في هذه الحلقة الجديدة من سلسلة حوار صريح مع خلف الحبتور.
Series of open discussion with Khalaf Al Habtoor, which we meet today under the theme of education. We meet in a period where many questions been asked on the future of education and the role of schools and the curriculum calendar and the role of the parents, and moving from lecturing to enabling and empowering. And from these questions, a man have a voice always that building nations doesn't start from factories or investment, but starts from schools. Mr. Khalaf Ahmad Al Habtoor, founder and chairman of Al Habtoor Group, who has always been available as a support and a thinker and wrote a lot about this in many occasions. And one of the biggest quotes for him that investment in education is not a moral values, but it's the biggest investment for us. And this belief reached to a high value in many schools in UAE and outside. And many stands with researchers and students, and we will talk about this during our discussion. Please welcome Mr. Khalaf Ahmad Al Habtoor, and I would like to welcome also our guests and everyone who helped in building minds. And I would like to mention that this session is live streamed in both English and Arabic, and that's a reflection of our belief in the importance in this constructive discussion. And we encourage the audience and the participants to share their opinions, ideas, ask Khalaf Al Habtoor, and some of the questions we asked today, and we try to answer how can we reassure the position of education with the fast pace of improvement in technology, the curriculum, learning calendars, and all of these together. We open the talk and the discussion and talk freely together and look into insights, visions, and opinions into how we can look into the education as it's an important topic from functional and investment perspective. I wish everyone the best, and we look to have a fruitful and enriching session for everyone. Welcome, everyone. We are, all of us, when I say us, I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about all of us here. We want to have an open discussion about education. Education is the basis of success for nations, and therefore everyone explains or defines education in a different way. In our country here, we lived when we were younger with camels and land and sea and the desert and all of these, but all of our parents and leaders were really educated, highly educated, not necessarily graduated from Harvard or prestigious universities. We did not have these universities, and we have very limited number of schools, but they were really educated, fully aware. They were reading the Quran, the Holy Quran, and you will see in each home the council of Al-Mutanabbi and many councils in homes which are under the name of thinkers who were really advanced in the Arabic language. All of them were advanced in an amazing way. They know hospitality, they know how to welcome the guests, they speak all the languages. I'm not talking on the languages as Arabic or English or French, but I'm talking about the language of hospitality, the culture, the science. They built this country before even the Union. Dubai and Abu Dhabi and Sharjah and the different Emirates had that taste, which is amazing. And after the union by Sheikh Zayed and Sheikh Rashid, God bless their souls, both of them, and all of the amazing leaders, they all know the religion. They know pottery, they know poem, they know the traditions of hospitality. What I want to get to, how did the UAE reach to this level of success? Through their men and their leaders. When I say their men, all of them. The previous men, none of them, they have been taught with Quran, and there was no education system, but they started increasing their awareness themselves, and they have succeeded in this. How is the mentality and the amazing leadership of Sheikh Rashid and Sheikh Zayed and Sheikh Rashid? They sat together and issued this country, which I'm proud of as my country, and I'm sure you're all proud of this country, which I call it one of the greatest countries in its economy and solidarity of their people, and the synergy and the tolerance between all nationalities and religions. Everyone feels like one. So we did not have this in this easy way, except because of our culture. So all of our men previously were aware of this. These are the men who established this country and founded. They were not Harvard graduates. They built it based on the religion and the culture and the poem and the thinker's mentality, with consultancy from some of their colleagues, from their friends. I'm saying, please do not get me wrong, I'm saying education is extremely important. However, the ones who've been employed after the union, they were all from the men of this country, from Fujairah till the borders of Saudi. All of them were studying from 8 a.m. till 1 p.m. in schools. Each one of them will go home, have lunch with his mom or his father, and it was never the case that they stay out till 4, 5, or 6 p.m. The child who's 5 or 6 or 10 years old, even if he got a private car, it's really difficult with this traffic we have. This is a good sign. Traffic is a blessing. It does not increase blood pressure. It really shows to people that we have work. Well, other countries, they may have traffic, but there was no benefits out of these profit. There was no benefit out of this traffic. So for us, we can see this traffic as a sign of blessing and the really good thing. What I want to explain in a scientific way, that these long studies, and I need to repeat and say more and more, that education is the basis, but the basis must be where the child needs to love studying, not to reach home while they can't do anything. If the mother is working of this child, for instance, in a ministry or a company or something, she arrives home at 5 p.m., she can't really parent her child. And he arrives at that he can't even walk. He's tired. He can't talk to his mom, and the mother cannot even talk to him. She wants to pray and eat and go to bed, and maybe if they get a nanny, then it's a good case. So what I wanted to suggest several times, or what I suggested several times, that we take the practical aspects. Education is very crucial and it's very important, but whoever against education is an ignorant. But we need to teach in a way where we ensure we have results, where we can, the same aspect where we see our leaders and our men in all the Emirates, the Northern Emirates, Southern Emirates, all sides, all areas of UAE. These men used to study till noon or till 1 p.m., not till 4 p.m. and reach home by 4 or 5 p.m. And therefore, many countries around the world, and this is we will explain in a scientific way. I asked the research center to provide a study which they will show to you in a while. Some of the advanced European countries, in a certain time, they study and they give them holidays for 2 or 3 months. I don't know the exact details, where they can have some relaxing time and holiday time, and they spend some time with their parents and mothers and family and brothers and sisters and siblings. So this education is for who? For all of us. We collaborate with ministries, we can talk to them to reach a result. My aim is not to say, no, don't teach, but when I see a child who's very young in a bus and it's 3:30 and he's sleeping, it's like the kandora which has been washed and not pressed, who's really crumbled and really tired from this long hours of studying. So we ask the Ministry of Education and Department of Education in Dubai to look into this long studying hours. We will put all the topics on the table for the explanation. Thank you so much.
شكرا سيد خلف.
Thank you, Mr. Khalaf. Just to remind about the pillars which we will be talking about today, which is the curriculum of classrooms, the methods of education in universities and schools, and the last one is the Arabic language and the importance of it. All of these are topics that you already touched on and you discussed on previously on social media and meetings. And if you allow me, I want to explain or mention some of the participations of Mr. Khalaf Al Habtoor. Many of us may already know, but I think it's really worth mentioning until the colleagues from Al Habtoor Research Center can show the presentation. To touch on the first pillar, which is the method of educations and the curriculum calendar, I will mention some of the participations of Mr. Khalaf. Mr. Khalaf was the founder of the Union School or Ittihad School in 1975. 1990, he found Emirates Advanced School, which became one of the most important schools in UAE, and it got 2 branches. Mr. Khalaf supported Zayed University and issued the chair of Khalaf for science and research, and also issued the Khalaf Al Habtoor Research Center for Assistive Technology, and also the chair of Khalaf Al Habtoor in AUS, and supported the struggling students financially in AUS, and also supported in Malik bin Anas universities, and provided sponsorship for the talented students. Also donated for Al-Zakah funds for the students to a total of 5,000 students. Also supported the Afghani students in UAE, founded the stadium Khalaf Al Habtoor Stadium in Cairo, and also issued the award in Cairo University, and also the center of Khalaf Ahmad Al Habtoor in Illinois University in the US, and the National Archive in Illinois University in the US, maintain and rehab the Center of Research in Cairo Universities. Also, Subul as-Salam, the methods of peace and study for the methods of peace between the Palestinians and Israelis, and also provided an education hall for 100,000 students in Syria. These are some of the education participation by Mr. Khalaf Al Habtoor. Also, the Harvard participation. Maybe we don't have the time to cover everything, but I wanted to mention this until our colleagues show their studies. Let me introduce the colleagues here: Habiba Diya Ad-Dir, Senior Early Warning Researchers, and Sharif Amin, Early Warning Researchers. We have Azza Hashim, the manager of Al Habtoor Research Center.
Everyone. Today we're having the discussion, as you already know, on education. But we're not discussing education from the conventional points that are usually discussed, but we're going to touch upon several aspects that are neglected somehow. The starting point came when Mr. Khalaf Al Habtoor gave us his thoughts about the educational systems, the efficiency of education, working hours or education hours, the well-being of students and its impact on the regional and national and global levels. That's why I want to start this presentation with a question to each and everyone in this room. Are we ready for the future of the future of jobs? Are we preparing our students for the future of labor market? The answer to this question can be found in these numbers on the screen, that by 2035, 40% of today's jobs will be automated, which means that today's educational system will be irrelevant in few years. It also means that we shouldn't be focusing solely on the number of hours our students receive at school, but we should focus more on skills, creativity, adaptability. That's why we are faced by the time learning paradox. What's the time learning paradox? It means that more instructional hours does not necessarily mean better outcomes. It also means that longer hours can lead to stress, can lead to lower engagement, and can lead to cognitive overload, especially in adolescents and teenagers who are going through biological and psychological limits which could have negative effects. If we have a closer look on the Arab region, we can find that, unfortunately, and despite the fact that some of our countries, we have some of the longest school days globally, the results is not usually positive. In many Arab countries, students in their late primary educational stage, they cannot even read. I can say that this is crazy because reading is such a basic skill, and at this stage they should be able to solve, for example, complex mathematical equations or to solve their day-to-day problems, but they cannot even read. In Egypt, unfortunately, 70% of primary school students, they cannot read. In Algeria, it's 68%, and in Morocco, it's 66%. And these are huge numbers, by the way. Having a global look or a larger scale, we would have comparisons from all over the world from 3 best cases, which are Finland, Netherlands, Japan, and Chile. The first 3 are the best cases, and Chile here is considered the worst among them all. Finland, Netherlands, and Japan, they have short school days. The time dedicated for homework is really short. And by the way, we're not saying that it should be short or it should be long, but it should be in the middle, this optimum point that we should reach and not exceed. If we look at performance, we find that in math, for example, reading and science, and this is the PISA test by OECD, those countries with shorter school days, they are performing better than other countries, including Chile, for example, which has 7 hours per day at school and 70 minutes for homework on average. And a very, very, very important point, which is the well-being of students. because let me say that we're not building a student, we're building a human being. So you might have a student excelling in academics with the highest GPA, but at the end of the day, outside of the classroom, they cannot perform well. The well-being variable, we find that in Chile it's very low, which leads to the most important variable, in my opinion, which is the dropout rate. Students end up leaving the whole educational system because they're not feeling satisfied and they don't feel that they belong to this institution as a whole. This leads to one of the really important topics also, it's homework, sleep, and cognitive decline. So we shift to the physical well-being of students. The cognitive load theory, executive function theory, and social jet lag theory, those theory can help us understand what's going on with students. They all stipulate that more or excess hours at schools can lead to poor memory retention, less cognitive flexibility, and it can even mess up with the biological clock of these students. And if we have numbers to prove our points, several studies have shown that, for example, 2 hours per day for homework can lead to REM sleep reduction. REM is this phase during our sleep. It's called rapid eye movement, when we can actually have dreams, where we can dream. And this is very sad because students, when they are affected by the pressure and the stress during school days, they cannot sleep. They cannot sleep well. Also, they cannot dream, they cannot sleep, and 43% of students, they face insomnia, which, as I said before, it's really sad, and I don't think any of us would love to see our students facing this situation. That's why we need to take several measures, and here numbers also show us more. I have to say that I hate numbers, but they are usually useful when you're trying to prove a point. For example, from 0 to 150 plus minutes per day dedicated for homework, we can see results on academic achievement, on our learning interest index, and most importantly on burnout risk, which can be 61% in some cases. Another additional variable is the school day duration. It can be from 4 to 5 hours to 8+ hours, which is too much for students. And another variable, which is the marginal return per additional hour. And if we can see the standard deviation between the two variables, we understand that it's a negative relationship and it's not positive one. So it does not mean that, as we have said in the beginning of this presentation, that more hours of school education or in-classroom education does not usually yield positive results. And that's why we have a very important law here, which is the law of diminishing education returns. This is a very well-known law in economics, which says that when you have an excess amount of something that you need, for example, if we speak about food, when you eat at the beginning, it's healthy, it's important for your health, but at some point, the optimum point, it's harmful. So you should reach this point and not exceed it. Because once exceeded, and here we're speaking about the school hours, we have psychological effects, we have physiological effects, and developmental effects. And this will be elaborated on more by Sharif. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Khalaf and esteemed colleagues. So, yes, I would like to elaborate on the impact of longer school hours and homework on these three topics. So, the physiological effect would be sleep loss. When you have excessive homework, you don't get enough sleep. This can contribute to poor memory as well as emotional regulation issues. Now, when you go on to the psychological impact, stress and burnout caused by excessively long school days and excessive amounts of homework contribute to reduced cognitive flexibility. And finally, the developmental issues. Because students are involved in too much school and there's way too much homework, it crowds out experiential learning, which then contributes to poor life skills. As you can see, the time allocation for student burnout from 2020 to 2025, as long as the amount of school hours and homework hours are increasing, it contributes to more burnout, which then contributes to a decline in cognitive flexibility. Now, in regards to the physiological effects, the sleep loss, memory, leading to memory and emotional issues, the optimum amount is 6 hours of school, 1 hour of homework. Now, when you add more to the school hours and to the homework hours, it will then contribute to emotional regulation score decreasing, and once again, cognitive flexibility score decreasing as well. Now, when it comes to the development, the stress and burnout once again, between 2020, 2025, students with higher burnout will experience cognitive decline, and as a result of this cognitive decline, their grades and their GPA will suffer. When it comes to the developmental effects, as you can see, the optimal balance is 7 hours, 6 hours, once again, 6 hours for school, 1 hour for homework. When you have the optimal balance, you have 4 hours of free time. However, as the homework load starts to increase, so does the problem-solving skills start to decrease, social competence decreases as well, and creativity decreases. So, what is, as we said before, the developmental focuses on experiential education. So what is that exactly? It translates the theory that you've learned in the classroom to real-world experiences, which then will contribute to benefits such as increased problem-solving skills, as well as work-ready skills. It'll also contribute to knowledge retention, while also contributing to social and emotional growth as a result of communal interactions, as well as collaborative learning. Now, there are some examples of this. For example, you have the King Alfred School and the Bohan School, where they focus on STEM integrated projects, as well as hands-on projects, which will then contribute to these students developing stronger skills, and it will be much better for them when it comes to getting into the workforce. Now, practical learning can be explained through 3 theories. These 3 theories being experiential learning theory, which focuses that knowledge emerges within cycles, and through these cycles, they are also getting this concrete experiences as well as reflective observations. Then you have the situated learning theory, which focuses primarily on that learning becomes meaningful when it is within an authentic context. And my personal favorite, constructive learning. That is the idea that a student will learn more when they are actively engaging with their environment. So what is the insight at the end of all of this? That practical learning is not optional, it is absolutely fundamental to the development of our future. Now, as you can see here, when you have traditional classroom hours only, it takes longer for people to master these skills, which leads to a lower retention rate, and it will stunt life development and real-world applications. However, when you reach the optimal and you decrease the amount of hours while also increasing the amount of experiential learning, you can see that the real-world applications improve, life development skills improve, and there is a greater potential for retention. Now, I'd like to talk about instructional time versus workforce readiness. Now, according to the OECD, primary school and lower secondary school students will on average spend a compulsory 7,604 hours. That is a shocking statistic. And of these hours, 41% are focused on literacy and numeracy, which amplify theoretical retention, but it does not emphasize skills. It does not emphasize development of skills. Now, as a result, 18, when it comes to transitioning from secondary school to university, students between the ages of 18 and 24 are more likely to spend longer times in higher education because they believe that it will become more employable as a result. However, according to the International Labor Organization, the amount of time that it will take a student to transition from the classroom to the workforce is 12 months. Now, compare that to vocational school graduates. They get jobs much quicker than people who go down the traditional educational routes because they are developing the skills needed to actually excel and secure stable employment. Which then brings me to another issue. The World Economic Forum states that 65% of primary school students today will end up in jobs that do not exist yet. So what do we need to do? We need to be adaptable. We need to increase the amount of experiential learning and skills, because these are going to be more critical in the future than just the theoretical aspect of education. As you can see here, there are some statistics from the top 5 most countries with the most compulsory instruction time. Then you have the average, the OECD average, followed by the lowest amount of compulsory time spent. Now, as you can see, there is the share of the 18 to 24-year-olds that I mentioned earlier. Most of the students are either out of the labor force or unemployed during this transitional period, which is a troubling statistic. So, what policy directions can we do? Like, what directions can we go? What reform can we enact? For starters, we can have shorter school days and smarter school days, reduced homework loads in order to get to that optimal level. Then, we should also implement sleep-aligned schedules to make sure that the youth is getting all the rest that they need so they can improve their cognitive flexibility skills as well as their emotional regulation. And then schools should integrate practical and experiential learning so that these students can develop the proper skills necessary to excel and secure employment in the future. And of course, academic institutions should collaborate with private enterprise in order to develop a pathway from academia into the workforce. So what is the overall takeaway from this? We must focus on quality, adaptability, and skills over the amount of time that we spend learning, teaching. Because if we exceed that optimal point, then cognitive decline will occur and emotional decline will occur, and people are not gaining the skills needed to excel in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, حبيبة وشريف. If I may, Dr. Azza, the information, المعلومات اللي تم مشاركتها معنا يمكن شوي كبيرة بالكم، فإذا سمحت تلخيص أو ملخص بسيط عن الدراسة، أهم الفايندينجز اللي ممكن تشاركيها معنا مشان نكمل
share with us the findings. Welcome everyone. I'm really happy to be with you here today, and we're very happy about the open talk, and we would like to thank Mr. Khalaf Al Habtoor, who started this initiative from the beginning, and the important this important topic, very important topic. And when Mr. Khalaf asked us to talk about this, he was really caring about the idea of the child, how the child can't live the childhood and spends really long hours in education with no results. He talked about an opinion that they have seen and wanted us to study. Was there any proof, scientific proof, that in case if the child spent longer hours, he will be gaining benefits? And is there a relationship between the long hours? Let us look how did we study the topic. We should not have an excessive where we don't always have to say that the longer working studying hours will have lower the attainment. The relationship between the duration and the academic attainment takes the shape of you. So the child, yes, must be lectured, must learn and spend certain times in studying until to reach a certain point. Once it reaches this point, the shape of the you starts and the attainment get lowers and the brain cannot think anymore and the abilities get lowered. And from scientific aspect, the biology scientist speaks about something called the brain plasticity, which is the brain flexibility, where we have a brain function in a way with capacity in our brain. The learning and practice can affect the structure of your brain. It can reach to a level where some areas can be in the brain can be bigger or lower. So the brain is like a muscle. If this muscle is being trained massively, then you will have break in the muscle itself. So the brain is very similar to the muscles, and it's been proved by scientific researches that the current education system will reach to some destruction to some parts of the and cells of the brain. So maybe you've been born with a talent, and the traditional way can reach to losing this talent. So when Mr. Khalaf asked us to work on this topic, he asked us to work in a scientific approach, and the results of the study was a little bit heavy, but let me tell you some of the research, the results. The long studying hours will reach to a cognitive disruption and lower academic attainment, and will also affect the features and characteristics of the child, because he spent his entire time studying. He do not have the chance to build skills. We are building a human being here. We're not stocking information in a safe where we can call the safe or go to it once we need. And this actually made us relook not only to rebuild or to redo the curriculums, but also the interaction between the students and the world around them. Schools became not the only influence. We had many other factors, and therefore talking about relooking at the curriculums and the studying hours is a talk that we should have and we should not delay. As what the colleague said, 70% of the students in Egypt, for instance, they finish the primary schools and they can't read and write. And this shows that we are in an education system which failed to reach the results expected by them. While the biggest percentage of the students graduated from schools and they start working in areas that they have never been taught about, and they start learning from zero again. So we need to combine between the application and education, and this is an idea which will be in the the university which will be issued by him, where we can combine the practice with the theory. And this is a very long topic, and the discussion does not end. And we promise you with an extensive and comprehensive research, and which touch on all the topics and all of the recommendations by Mr. Khalaf and the research center, in order to ensure we have more effectiveness. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Azza. What we need to remember always is less hours, stronger minds. That's the theme we have. Mr. Khalaf, I've noticed, before we take question from the audience, if you have any question, please be prepared. So something I've noticed, the statistics that was part of the presentation which was done by the colleagues, and it says 65% of primary students will work in jobs that are not available today. So you always talk about the technology and automation. Are we preparing generations who are ready for the future where there will be a lot of changes in the workforce? What I want to say, from my experience and the research, I'm leaving the research to my colleagues, but we need to have the theory and we need to have the practical aspect. If we go to the idea of universities, the doctor, let us talk about engineering, because I worked in construction and contracting work. This engineer who teaches, like Mr. Yusuf Shalabi, he's teaching engineering and he's taking masters in civil engineering. He should have enough time, and I always take care about this in the university. We have time which is limited for the education, where we can say 40 or 60% of the theory at the university and 60% at work. When I make this person graduate aware about the work. It's not about lectures. I opened this book and I read it all, but when it comes to the real application and at work, it's not a simple book. I'll give you an example. My son, Muhammad, studied in the US hotels management. I kept him in the hotel for a year and a half, holding bags as a concierge and washing dishes and starting the housekeeping for a year and a half, until I put him into a mid-career position, not as a general manager. He needs to learn the practical. Learning is essential, but the education and the learning requires the backup, requires the practical part of it. So if I want to teach someone engineering, for instance, I would take him to the site. I will make him wear a boot, go to the site, to carry even the iron, if to get dirty, to get dusted, where he can feel the beauty and the taste of work. When I go home and I feel I've produced today, but it's just the idea of the luxury studying and going to, and then graduated to be a hotel manager or a site or a project manager without work, he will never succeed. He will never be able to reach what people reached already. I'll give you a very important information. I built all of this, the hospitals in Dubai, Rashid Hospital, Dubai Hospital, also hotels, Burj Al Arab. I built Burj Al Arab. So when I had an English manager as a project manager for the new Dubai Hospital and the Latifa Hospital, his name was John Clark. Do you remember him, Yusuf? John Clark. So John Clark was not graduated with engineering. He was a carpenter. And his job was the fine work. And all of the people below him are civil engineers. He would teach them how to work and what to do because he worked in practical. He started the practical work. Studying is very important, and in schools it's really important. Without science there is no life, of course, but people must learn in practical, to hold the shovel, the vibrator, and the concrete. You want to be a hotel manager without doing the work of the concierge. You need to wash dishes. You need to clean the toilet in order to be able to know how is the work from top level up. Mr. Khalaf, it's very important as part of the study, not only the practical and the theory, but also preparing the students to the So you discussed about automation and you discussed about the challenges. From what aspect do you have these challenges or these concerns? We are willing from Al Habtoor entity to train the students who require trainings and they know their needs. If someone says, I know everything, that means they don't know anything. We are willing to take care of them because without training, they can't reach, the human cannot reach anything. So the practical education is very important. I think yesterday we finished in some of the schools, we gave them degrees in finance, hospitality, hotel management, and today morning, this is something we are willing to open our doors for all the youth we have, where we teach them and train them in all of our entities, whether in finance, engineering, law practice, because it's very important to learn. It's important for them to train, not about reading a book. We take a question from the audience, 2 questions from the audience, then we continue with our discussion. Please introduce yourself, then continue. Majida Maani, Education Leadership, PhD, the manager of Shua Noor Training, certified trainer from the Ministry of Education and KHDA, and also worked with the Aleph platform in modifying the curriculums and the electronic curriculums. Working in these areas, I also have many interviews, TV interviews talking about the same topic, and we always participate in global forums and conferences which covers the topic of education. First, I would like to thank and appreciate the initiative by Mr. Khalaf Al Habtoor. We are really in need for such topics, and I have praised this initiative yesterday in an interview with Al Dhafra TV. The question that I would like to ask to you, Your Excellency, we are always say that the citizens must be in the same path with the directions of the country and the national agenda of the country. It requires from the education process to have a talented and innovative student who achieved the self-studying. There is a project which was issued in 2019, but it was stopped because of COVID, where we had a vision based on the experience we have, which is around 25 years in education, of a project that we propose to a construction company where we will have education that being separated into two aspects: the academic education, which the students can take. Now with AI they can take from applications, and the other part of the education is the skills education or skills learning. So this needs to be supported by the curriculums, where even the curriculums will have the academic information and the practical skills in reality. We don't need these campus, traditional campus, but we need to build a school, as I mentioned in some of the meetings, that there is nothing impossible in the UAE, and UAE is always proactive in the initiatives, innovative initiatives. There is a project to build a school in a very large space where the student takes the skills. If you don't mind, Doctor, I understand your question, because if you're going to take long, we will not leave the space for others. If you have something, please write it to Dr. Azza and she will look into it. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Peace be upon you all. This is Muhammad Al Hayar. We are a group of academies from ST Group, Education Group. We have the IT Network Academy. We have a lot of theory training. I am graduated from the academy, and we have now the education as 50% in practical and 50% in theory. We have the same lab, where we don't have labs anymore. We don't have, theory training only. We have centers in many Emirates right now, and we would like to ask Dr. Khalaf, are these the topics or these areas which you are where 80% practical and 20% theory? Is this what you're looking for? Is this what you're aiming for or what you're looking for? This is what I see, that not only 20% theory, but I want 60-40. 60-40 in my opinion is good. 60% practical and 40% in universities. And I am the head of business development in the American school. It's a bit difficult with the it's difficult for the practical training for some of the categories. We're not saying it's allowed or not allowed, but we hope to have 40-60, where 40% they have lectures and all of these, but then we give him a boot and helmet and let them go to the site to work, start carrying the cement, the shovel, and to be a good engineer in hotels. I want them to start cleaning, carrying the bags, cleaning the dishes. They should start from the zero. But the primary, the basis, they take from schools or universities. From schools, they start with the schools. This is what we do. We train them in our companies. We had a large number. I just wanted to say that we already have it. We have also the program of hospitality and hotel management. Are you trying to do marketing here or promotion, or what exactly happening? We will continue with the questions later on, but we will come back to you, Mr. Khalaf. One of the topics that you discussed about is the challenge in Arabic language in general, and you issued an initiative with Al Habtoor Research Center. If we can listen to you and then listen to We have Marwan here. Bring him here. So the question is about one of the challenges that you always care about and you talk about a lot, which is the Arabic language. And you issued the initiative regarding this. We wanna hear from you your concerns about the Arabic language. This is a problem I don't know how to solve. I'm not talking about the children of others. I'm talking about our children who are already old. They only speak English. They come to me and speak in English. They go to their mother and speak English. They don't know how to speak Arabic. I think strengthening the Arabic language, first of all, they should prevent completely, make it not allowed to use the computer. For our schools, mobiles are no longer allowed. The person should focus on himself to have very strong classrooms, and we did a calendar for the studying. This child must know the Islamic culture, the history of Arabs. No one knows about the history. We are the only ones, our generation is the only one who knows a little bit, not even everything. Bring anyone and ask them who's the Al-Mutanabbi, the poem. They will think he's a taxi driver. Talk to us about the prophets and messengers. He will say, what do I have to do with this? He doesn't know the relationship between the different religions. He doesn't know about Quran and other religions and the history of other countries, whether Asian, European, African. They don't know. They have no knowledge. So this is the problem. The problem is in our homes. I'm talking about myself. I try for them to speak in Arabic and I can't. Do I hit them? What do I do? The cure should be from schools, because in homes the mothers are really tired. I have a young daughter. I call her Noura under my mom's name. When I come and talk to her, we have a teacher who comes and teach her in Islamic affairs and Arabic. And when I ask her what did they learn, she starts answering in English. You're talking to the teacher in Arabic, but for me, she said, I don't have the ability and the capability to speak in Arabic. This is something I cannot talk about, but the Arabic experts should talk about. And we are willing to give all the support how to strengthen the Arabic language in schools. And 1 minute. Go ahead. We have a study that we did in schools to teach the Arabic language. After an extensive survey about the switch in Arabic language, we've already highlighted the challenges, and we worked on the two-rays theory to solve the problem, and we started with that, and we started with the first level of Arabic language, where we have innovative way. So we found an initiative which we have, and I will provide it to the research center. Mr. Khalaf, if you allow us, there was a lot of challenges that you already discussed about, and the research center discussed about. If can Dr. Azza maybe speak to us about the challenges and the threats we have if we don't have the Arabic language? reality, when we discussed about the Arabic language, we are not a thinking center or culture center. We are an early warning research center. When His Excellency issued the Al Habtoor Research Center, he said, I want to have a proactiveness. When we discussed about the Arabic language, we discussed where in one of the aspects it could be an existence threat or risk. So as an early warning, looking into this, how can we consider it as an identity? We made a study called the security of the language and the security of Arabs. And we discussed the Arabic language as a security issue, because the availability of the Arabic language and their existence, the availability and the existence of Arabs is linked to their identity linked to the Arabic language. So the point is not about me speaking in English or Arabic, but we ensure that, and I have the faith that the existence and survival of the Arabic language is linked to the existence and survivals of Arab and Arab nations. And the language who dominates can lead. When previously, when we used to be the leaders among the world, the Arabic language would be taught all over the world. And now, since we are learning the English, we are trying not to even discuss or to learn the Arabic language. So 80% of the content we have in the internet is in English, 20% of the content is only in Arabic. And therefore, the child will come and speak in English, write in English, and read the Western culture. Our culture is no longer existing. And we worked into this through an initiative where Mr. Khalaf Al Habtoor put an award for the best study, which put together all of the thoughts for the Arabic language. We've done many forums, many online meetings and discussion and talks, and the idea is how to participate even in a small portion in preserving the Arabic language and discuss the risk of losing the Arabic language and the consequences to the Arabic and regional aspect. So maybe the biggest challenge, Mr. Khalaf and the audience, is not only to facilitate the learning of Arabic language, but also focusing on the threats and the risks of losing it. And that's why we need to focus on Arabic language. We will leave the space for 1 or 2 questions. Then after that, we'll do. Peace be upon you, Yasser bin Muhammad. Thank you so much. I will not take long in the introduction. Thank you so much for this amazing session. I was reading, listening, and benefiting because of the expertise are here. So when we discuss about the Arabic language, it's my area. Maybe I'm the youngest, I'm the lowest with experience, but the solution is in our hand, and we see it every day, but we don't look at it. I am the youngest. The solution is available with all the studies and the research centers. The solution of the Arabic language is available in the Quran, the Holy Quran. I sat with big researchers and scientists, and I told them what is the reason. They were Arab, and I asked them what is the reason for this expertise or expert level in Arabic language, and he says, I memorized from Quran, and from our experience, like from my side, we are 13 brothers, and we all read Quran, and we don't talk at home even one single word in English. And this is something because what my father did. You don't need to bring a teacher to teach him Arabic language and the functions and go in deep language. Bring someone to teach him Holy Quran. Thank you so much for this amazing intervention. If you allow me, Mr. Khalaf. if you allow me, Mr. Khalaf, I want Mr. Abdel Salam Al Marzuqi, the assistant of chairman and assistant to the chairman and UAE Affairs and Community Relation, maybe can mention about some of the initiatives that you do for teaching the Arabic language and Quran in Al Farouk Center for Education. In the name of Allah, at the beginning, I would like to thank Mr. Khalaf Ahmad Al Habtoor for this amazing open talk in education. And as it was said by Mr. Khalaf, this is a very important topic, and it supports. He supports it for a very long time. But to discuss about it in a very brief way, we have two initiatives. One on the level of UAE, where Mr. Khalaf Ahmad Al Habtoor initiated the initiative of supporting the Arabic language and Holy Quran and the Holy Prophet path, where many people participated together, from the for the ones who memorized the Quran and the ones who was advanced in Arabic. And it's also, what's unique about this is the Prophet's path, the holy path of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Last year also, after he sat with the managers, and this aim that he got, he sat with the management, the board of Advanced Emirates School. He also supported the initiative and issued the award as well. And therefore, three competitions been issued: the Holy Quran competition and the Arabic poem and the award of the Holy Path, the Sunnah. We can see young children who are memorizing Al-Mutanabbi and Hassan bin Thabit and Mr. Khalaf supports the Arabic language and our Arabic Emirati heritage through the award of Ausha bint Khalifa Al-Suwaidi, which is issued by Mr. Khalaf Ahmad Al Habtoor in 2019, and we are now in the fourth version of it. And Ausha, who is an amazing personality, and he awarded and memorized her name by a number of initiatives in poem, traditional poem in UAE, and these are the initiatives Mr. Khalif Ahmad Al Habtoor got, and the traditional our culture is an Arabic culture, and as it was mentioned, I know some of it also, and many additions, and which is the biggest medical scientific research center in simulation, as a simulation center, which teach and train all physicians for all of the simulation aspect of medicine, even the doctor himself, whether it's a professor or a student, start do a practical training in this simulation center, which is available in Dubai Healthcare City, which is issued in 2014. All the thanks to him, and it's been beneficial to the students and doctors and physicians. The education is a right for everyone, and Mr. Khalaf Ahmad Al Habtoor was affected when he saw Taliban government to prevent girls from going to school. He got emotional about this, but it was not only being emotional, but he came out of it by educating the Afghani students, girl students, and donated to educate them. We can see this initiative being completed, and these students being already graduated by now. And these students, these girls, were prevented, deprived from studying, and he brought them from all the way from Afghanistan and had a specialized budget for that, for all the requirements, from providing all the needs, from accommodation, pocket money, food, security, and safety. They have their monthly allowance as well, and also learning in Dubai University. And we will see the results and participate with you in these results. These are the biggest of the initiatives, or these are in brief some of the initiatives of Mr. Khalaf Ahmad Al Habtoor. Also the collaboration with the universities, Sharjah University, Anas bin Malik University, and the AUS, and the other universities. Also in Cairo. We have many initiatives with the others as well. Since you mentioned about the simulation center, you discussed a lot in social media when using the technology to serve the human. And sometimes it can be a risk for the people. We will take the question. It's not the right time for this question. We will take question from the audience. Thank you so much, Mr. Khalaf. I learned a lot. My name is Azam Qiyas. I'm an internal physician doctor, and I'm part of the microbiome. And I congratulate you in Khalaf Ahmad Al Habtoor Center. And I hope to see my dream under your support. My project requires the care for these students. And you mentioned about sleeping. Sleeping is very important. Because the health of the internal organs is very important, and all of your and I have an hashtag, the print of Khalaf Al Habtoor. In a very brief, I just want to thank you and appreciate your support. We have a question, if you don't mind. My name is Samal Mikhail. I just want to talk about something very important when you're talking about education and the importance of the education. Last statistics shows that the children from the age of 10 to 15, they spend 3 hours a day, every day, on social media. So maybe we support the influencers and the content creators who write or creates because we learn a lot from the universities and schools, but there is a very high impact. I'm working on this industry for a very long time. Thank you so much for your intervention. Mike, if you don't mind. If you allow me from the beginning to listen to Mr. Marwan, and then we go from there. Mr. Khalaf Ahmad Al Habtoor, thank you for this support and your belief. You believe in us, and we need to keep that. And with all thanks through your your initiatives. We saw the good work of Zaid and Rashid, and it asked Mr. Sheikh Zaid asked the investors and the business people to maintain the heritage in a session which is recorded. We see today that Khalaf Al Habtoor is supporting the reading and the Arabic language education, and we try to promote it to the maximum possible through this initiative. What do you say? So how can we preserve it? And if we look into it, and to look into our norms and cultures. Marwan mentioned something very important. He reminded us the late Sheikh Zayed and Sheikh Rashid, may Allah bless their souls, look into how genius they are. Both of them never been to Harvard or to prestigious university, but they've learned from the universities of the desert. And I was training with Ahmad Saeed al-Mullah when I was very young in Abu Dhabi, and I remember by the end of 60s, Sheikh Zayed, well, it was only a small country. It was still a small country. Established the council, which called the Planning Council, with the genius mind of this person. The Council of Planning. What does that mean? Why is it important? And he chosen a number of men, businessmen in Abu Dhabi, and some of the sheikhs. All of them are men and loyal to the sand of Abu Dhabi. And he got two from Dubai, which is Muhammad Saeed al-Mullah, may God bless his soul, and Sultan bin Ali al-Awais. Kept them as a part of it in order to do a plan. They were all men with really amazing brains, and they were all genius. I would call them geniuses. Learned from all of them, from Sheikh Zayed to Sheikh Rashid, and we learned a lot from them, everything. The manhood, the hospitality. When you see a man who's older than you, you go and kiss him on the head. We've learned a lot from them. We call it the Executive Center Council today. Moving to Dubai, Sheikh Rashid. And my father told me you will gain lots of information, you will learn a lot. Then I learned when I reached to Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed, I was seeing him 4 times a day. I became addicted to him. I will see him, may Allah bless his soul. I go to him at 6 a.m. to Zabil, then in Jimmer, and learning itself. They were a true school. They teach you the manhood, the Arabic lecturer, the Arabic language. Someone who is a real man would only share such. They talk about economy. Rashid bin Saeed was talking about economy. There was no money in Dubai. He created money. He created this. He expanded Dubai Khor. He was a true genius. Maybe he was supposed to born few years later. There was no money, no source. Why are you expanding the Khor? Because it's a country with no seed. Their economy does not succeed. The countries with no sea may have good economy, but not the same opportunities with the. This is the nature of the global. He made the dry alley. What is that for? For to clean the or to fix the ships. So we have that sort of respect. Respecting the older, we have your uncle or your relative, or your aunt, you go and kiss them on the head. Today, maybe they just go hello from away. I think they should put statues for them. I think we took a lot of time. Thank you for everything. We want to go and pray Maghrib. We have some of the questions which we got from the... you have 5 minutes only. This based on how fast is the answer. So, to cover the maximum, Mr. Ahmed asked a question about memory and smartness. Rebuild the education system to create capacities for for the people. So as a part of smartness. So he says we need to do the education system in order to look into the abilities and enhance the smartness. I agree with him. I completely agree with him. That's the fastest answer. We have do you need a long time to see the results? In case if we are logic 100%, we will not need a long time. It's about the decision. I believe in something called the decision. The decision is being taken by the man. The decision is very important, and this is something tough, the tough decision. The question from Yasser Ahmed Muhammad: why most of the businessmen, successful businessmen, do not have high education degrees, and do they face challenges during their journey because of that, and or the money talks more? Your answer? No comment on this. They worked because of their good work. Even in the America and Europe, the biggest people started, even the leaders in Europe and America, they did initial studies and they led the world. It's not that we don't support education, all the levels from primary all the way to PhD. We need to be practical. It's not about studying only and that's it. You need to have practicality. We have a question from Mrs. Samara Ad-Dabbagh. What are the most important skills that should be attained by the students in order to be ready for the future? أعتقد all the skills are important, but I would give the priority as Arabs, the Arabic Arabic language, Islamic affairs, and Islamic. No. These which I will give the priority. Because the English now, we all speak very well in English. If we have any question from the audience before we continue. No more questions. We wish to see you now in Syria soon. I think we are finished. Last question, then we will conclude. Last question and we will conclude. And I think this is a very important topic for everyone. There is a discussion taking place in the social media says that not having a law to, I will repeat again, it talks not having a law to make the students sit in their bus, and the reason of that because of the increase of negative behavior, fighting and bullying and incidents in school buses. I don't agree with this. With all respect to the lady or the man who's mentioning this, the buses do have a policy. We have a system in UAE. This is what we've been taught with since the establishment of UAE and before even the establishment of the union. The person would learn how to respect the others and the older and the younger even. That's not there. I hope he will not get accepted, but that's not true. It's opinions. We have a question from Mr. Ali Qasim, and we have answered it, but we will ask it. Can we see in the future, the near future, a program with scholarship programs to provide a number of seats for masters and PhD by collaborating with universities in UAE or Europe to support the low-income students, and maybe to have an initiative under the name of Al Habtoor Higher Education Award or sponsorship. Of course, there is no objection in this, but my opinion is he needs to know practical, but to read a book or hold a book and read it, no. But I need someone who can get the practical, where he can listen to and read it and can do it. If someone says, I want to study economics, what you will do with economics? He will not be able to answer. I would mention, you mentioned many of the important topics which is related to education, less studying time, less studying, better results, the result of the technologies. As a final comment, what would you would like to say? I need to enhance my Arabic language myself. He will start teaching me myself. I'm a Lebanese. Well, actually, that's why my accent can be like that. Thank you to everyone. Thank you for the doctor and the youth. But you did not mention about the other countries. You've mentioned about that already, yes. Because they're behind me. Thank you so much. Thank you, Abdul Salam. Thank you, everyone. Marwan, God bless you, and everyone. And hope we meet in the future. And an idea you would like us to discuss. We all here to learn. No one is better than the other. I learn from you. You learn from me. We learn from each other. Yusuf Shalabi, I learned a lot from him, and he learns a lot from me. But now he became better than me. He went to the gym and he's doing sports. Thank you, Mr. Khalaf, and thank you, the audience. And we look into having the future open talk with Khalaf Al Habtoor. Thank you so much.